a bigger navy with more ships, submarines and sailors, and an air force with a radically reshaped fleet of aircraft. This is the shake-up of the armed forces that's been billed as the biggest since the Cold War.
It's going to see a busier, more capable, more lethal, more exciting armed forces with new capabilities that will match the modern battlefield and the battles to come.
But there is pain in change, and the army looks to take the biggest share of it, losing thousands of soldiers to help pay for a transformation into a much more high-technology force. Scores of tanks and the whole fleet of warrior armoured vehicles are also cut. The payoff, hundreds of new armoured vehicles like Boxer and high-tech battlefield missiles and drones. The army says it's trading off mass with technology to deliver lethality.
It'll look and feel like a modern, digitised expeditionary army fit for a modern global Britain. It'll be more lethal, it'll be more precise, more specialist, much more digitally connected, and will restore the expeditionary reflexes and reverse the recent trend to domestication, where we've seen the bulk of the British Army based in the UK as we've come to the end of the campaigning years.
For the Royal Navy, this review means growth. The numbers of frigates and destroyers that can work alongside the aircraft carriers will eventually increase, with new Type 26 and 31 vessels and more sailors on board them. The RAF's future plans are being refocused around the Future Combat Air System, Tempest, a future that's expected to see unmanned fighter jets potentially exceeding numbers of those with pilots on board. And the Royal Marines, as the future commando force, will be deployed around the world, along with more of the army.
Size and shape are not really true indicators of military capability. It's your ability to bring together more lethal, more productive, more networked, more integrated forces that are postured both to compete but also to respond to really significant threats above the threshold. And what we do really well, better than most people, is that we integrate these capabilities: sea, land, air, cyberspace and space. So don't focus so much on size and shape, focus on the lethality and focus on the extent to which it's integrated. And that's what this review sets out.
It's not just about land, air and sea, but also integrating those with space and cyber operations, which also get significant investment. But the cuts in traditional land forces to create this new high-tech integrated military carries risk, according to some observers.
I think it's a gamble against the enemy exercising a vote in a way that gets outside the Ministry of Defence's planning assumptions. So if the UK was asked to do something like a long-term stabilisation operation in the Balkans, Iraq and Afghanistan, the land forces would struggle to sustain it in the way they sustained it over the last 30 years. I also wonder how suitable the armed forces are going to be for urban warfare, because urban warfare requires mass.
This is not just a radical reshaping of the armed forces, but also a radical change in the way they will work. It relies not just on the delivery of new technology and new hubs around the globe. It also relies on the character of conflict changing in the way that ministers and senior officers predict. James Hurst, Forces News. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.